giver. Hello. Hello.
Guys.
Hey.
It's nice to hear the real intro.
Yeah, I feel it's like I feel like I'm in better resolution already. Like I can see my hands.
Yeah, those homemade videos were super cute though. I saw them
with the worst sound in the world. Sorry to our long-suffering listeners. If you're still hanging around, what a treat this is. We're back in studio.
back in studio. Everyone is healthy. Everyone is back from vacation.
Yeah, not for too long. But hey, guess what?
You're listening to the Flat Out Fever podcast.
Episode number 50.
What?
50?
Episode 50.
50?
Episode 50.
This is really exciting, guys.
50 times.
We gotta
Should we
think.
consider this like our anniversary?
Well, this is kind of I guess so.
What do you call this? A bicentennial?
Ooh,
No,
That's
bicentennial.
200 years?
Or maybe I don't know. Yeah, it's 200 years.
Sesquicentennial.
No,
Is that a 25 years?
this would be like a half centenary. Let's call it that. We are half the way through 100 episodes, and to commemorate that. Oh, actually, before we get into any further, I really would like to take a minute to thank everybody that's been listening, everybody that's been contributing to the conversation.
And
on
you're welcome
Twitter.
also.
Yeah.
nice dating.
Exactly. No, but yeah,
No, but for real, thanks.
thanks for listening.
Yeah,
and
this has been awesome.
yeah,
it's
what
fun.
a
It's fun.
treat it's been since a year since we
Right?
started, right?
Such humble beginnings.
Oh yeah, nothing worked back then.
Start at the
Like
library.
today. Oh yeah.
Started out at the library.
Now we're here with what can only be described as a giveaway.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
We're doing a giveaway.
Yeah, we're doing a giveaway. Yeah, thanks for listening to really. I mean, we really appreciate every single person that listens to our show. This is the only reason why we do it. Like, we really don't get anything out of this. We're just fans, just like you. But to commemorate that 50 episode, and because we're into our second year, we're gonna do a giveaway.
This is a good one, guys. It's a big, juicy one.
For way too long, we've been harping on about how you gotta go to a race. You gotta go to a race. It won't make a difference. I mean, you can be an F1 fan, but if you've never been out there to a race, you just won't ever experience it fully. I mean, Mike, you
Yes.
went to a race, and
I did.
How different,
Changed my life.
right?
Changed my life.
We took you to a race. Like, by then, you knew about F1.
I knew the cars. I knew.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, that's that guy.
Yeah.
Or so and so. Or what's his nuts.
That's the real guy.
Honestly,
Bye.
if you've never been to a race, whether you're a fan, new or old, you should go, and that is why we want to help you.
We're giving away tickets.
We're giving away tickets to a race.
That's it.
That's
Wow.
no other way to put it.
Wow. We said it.
It's gonna be obviously to the Canadian Grand Prix.
Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Montreal.
So this is happening
June 12th.
Yeah.
10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah, I be sure actually to go there on the Thursday because they have a fantastic open track day.
Yes.
Not many tracks in the world do have it.
You don't need tickets to go into that,
You're right.
but
Yeah.
you will have tickets if you win them and be there, hopefully, anyways.
Big announcement, and we're gonna get into the details and actually start the contest from our next Flat Out Fever episode 51 that's coming up next week. Just stay tuned for that. It will be something like this. Like, we're gonna announce everything as soon as the episode begins, so you don't have to stick around for the whole thing if you don't like the long format. But one thing that we can tell you right now, that we can give more details about the tickets themselves. So it is 2 full weekend passes. Friday practice, Saturday and Sunday.
June
race.
10th, 11th, and 12th.
It's nothing fancy. It's just GA tickets, but that's
This is not like a might happen.
No,
Tickets have been purchased.
We have the tickets.
We have the tickets.
So these are GA tickets for the full weekend. If you don't like GA, you can always upgrade them. If not, actually, it's GA is what we do every year.
And it's
not
fun.
that bad.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
If you buy grandstand tickets, you better wake up around 5 a.m. anyways if you want to sit anywhere near the top.
Yeah, if you're serious,
it's like a first
about
come
F1.
first served even with the grandstand tickets.
Absolutely.
Get there early.
It's gonna be a good time though. Montreal has.
If there's one tip I'd like to give the people is
Yes.
buy some proper shoes. Get some proper insoles. There's lots of walking.
It's true. It's a big track.
I killed myself almost. My feet.
But yeah, this is how big is that? We're giving away tickets.
I know.
To that, boys.
I'm gonna tell everyone.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Anyway, yes.
Tickets entry is open to the entire population of the Earth.
Oh yes, yeah. No, you don't have to be in Canada. Like if you want to make it the trip. Oh, and
you buy the plane tickets.
Yeah, obviously. We will be making the official. Okay, so we're gonna announce the terms of the contest next week, and it's gonna and then entries are gonna be open for another 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. In the meantime, just hype yourself up, prepare yourself, think about it, how much you really want to go. And that's it.
Think about F1. Think about you. Think about you in F1.
And Montreal. Like, I think it's also like a great place in general.
Montreal is badass.
You know how many people like from Canada, like people that I've met, like that have lived their entire lives in Ontario, for example, have never been to Montreal.
I was one of those people.
You don't need an excuse. Just go there.
Yeah.
And if this is gonna be your excuse, like trust, you'll thank us later.
At this point, I've spent somewhere around between 15 to 20 days in Montreal. They've all been great.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
They've all been great.
And they really embrace the F1.
Oh, yeah.
That's something
city.
really cool about it, too.
I've been there also outside of Formula One. Casino weekend.
Yeah.
Etc. You know, the Jazz Festival.
Great party city.
Great city. They fully embrace F1. Like Mike said, it's gonna be a good show no matter what. Like if you, as far as you can think, I'm sure if you're an F1 fan, you can remember that there's been some classics in Canada. If you've never been to a race, or if you've been to a race and you're a familiar face, don't worry, still apply. Like come on, we want to hear. We want to hear your entries, or see your entries.
Hashtag the Great 2016 Flat Out Fever 2016 Montreal ticket giveaway.
Hashtag
2016 twice or you lose.
Hashtag long hashtags. All right.
Yeah. 140 character hashtag.
Moving on to the actual show. We're going to talk about testing and stuff that happened within it.
Yeah, testing was good. Do you see Ted's corner? Ted's corner?
With the development corner? Yes. Well, okay. I did see that. Yes. Lots of interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we can't go over most of that here. That's Ted's.
That's Ted's business.
That's Ted's business.
But we can still talk. Okay, so after testing, like, if you want to pull those pictures up right now on the book.
I'm not. We're still live, bud.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. I thought you're like, I think we're off. No? Psych.
No, we're still good. Because a few things can be, if you go team by team, which is what pretty much everybody's doing out there, about the things that happen during testing, like, you don't get the real sense of, like, where, well, obviously everybody can agree that Mercedes is still at the top.
Yeah,
very much so. They completed,
quite obviously, yeah.
Yeah, they completed more laps than anybody else, and way more than Haas for sure.
Oh, that is the look of defeat. What happened here?
Well, Haas, they don't know what's going on.
Oh no.
Yeah, Mr. Haas there. He was like, last week already he was saying, there's way more difficulty than we ever expected in just getting this team going. We have no idea what we were expecting, first of all, to getting into this, and going forward, we're going to hope for the best.
Wow. Oh,
that's basically what he said last week.
They built a plane and didn't know how to fly.
He took what's his name? Gunther Steiner. He took Gunther Steiner. He gave him a loving embrace, pet his head, and said, "Gunther, we're not in North Carolina anymore."
Yeah, you're gonna be fine. Yeah. You're okay.
This is scary and complex, and it's F1, and there's way too much to do. Yeah, But they've been having problems that have been attributed to actually their engine supplier.
Ferrari.
No way.
And
the thing
Ferrari
is,
themselves.
They can't really say too much public about that.
Of course not.
So, like, did Ferrari just, like, they just bought an engine Ferrari and they're like, have fun?
Well,
They bought.
Ferrari is an F1 manufacturer of engines as well as a team. But
Right.
they're an engine manufacturer. So there's of the 4 engine manufacturers right now, they have like a number of teams that they supply. Haas is one of those teams that Ferrari just happens to supply a current spec engine. Now, the thing is that when you make a deal...
The only one?
No. There's Sauber is the other one that gets current engines, and Toro Rosso gets last year's Ferrari engine.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, not the current one.
No.
That wasn't part of the deal.
It's too much.
Well, they were kind of a rival team.
Right.
Well, I mean, like they're Red Bull themselves, where both Red Bull teams were having a big fight. That's how we ended up last year, right? The big fight between Red Bull and all the engine suppliers, and they thought that they were gonna get a cost worth, but that didn't happen over the winter. Now the manufacturers are fully in control of F1, and within that is where we find ourselves today with a Ferrari that probably like built a pretty decent engine, but they changed a lot of stuff. And we've been talking about this because the layout of the way that the engine is from last year to this year it's very different. Where they put the batteries, where they put the intercoolers, like all that stuff, all those technical bits for the hybrid systems and whatever, have kind of been reshuffled around. And even just from a layman's point of view, like when I saw the pictures of how different the different arrangements were, I'm pretty sure like you showed or you brought it up in the podcast, and we said that's a big change. So the Ferraris like have had, I mean, all the Ferrari engines really, the customer teams that have Ferraris and Ferrari themselves have had some problems with reliability.
Their MGUH was moved. The MGUK was moved like way completely different configuration.
Yeah.
To the front of the engine. Yeah, they changed a lot.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just saying there's no way that you can like make changes like that in F1 and expect not expect something like this.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can partner yourself with Ferrari and talk publicly about something like this.
No.
So
is the Sauber team having difficulties with their engine?
Yeah, they've had some reliability issues as well.
Remember,
Really?
they didn't even show up with their 2016 car until the second testing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Which was almost exactly identical to last year's car.
Yeah. That's the team that now they're the team that is in the biggest financial concerns.
It's kind of come out today that Sauber hasn't paid a lot of their salaries to their employees and contractors from last year already. They haven't, I guess, unlocked enough money to pay them forward. So yeah, they're in big trouble. While we're on the topic though, before we move, I was going to talk about this later, but it's related. Haas, Günther Steiner. Go back to that last picture too.
Oh, I don't know how to.
But it's
like that arrow to the left.
Somewhat related here to the plight of Haas so far. Haas has yet to sign a contract with Formula One group of companies regarding their commercial rights for this season. So
distribution of the pot.
Yeah, which means they're almost like they're competing, but they're not part of Formula One. They have not signed that contract. Günther Steiner, the man you just mentioned, who is the head of the F1 team.
Yeah.
The head guy. He said basically like it's down to the nitty gritty. Like it's obviously the first race is in 2 weeks. As it stands, they could win the championship and leave with nothing. Absolutely nothing. But like it basically their existence more or less comes down to them signing this contract, which I guess is kind of how Bernie does his business. It seems that way. No deal, no money, which was kind of came out with it. If they do sign the contract though, and they can place 7th in the championship, which isn't that high. 7th in the championship pays 40 million British pounds, which is half their budget for the year.
Jesus.
Yeah. And 10th place, 11th place as of right now pays, I believe, nothing. Pays zero. Last place pays nothing. But if
they all get a little bit of money at least from TV, all of them. But yeah, but there's no additional like prize money.
There was, because of the 11th team, there was some kind of amendment signed last year that you get paid. I forget. I think 8 million pounds.
It's not.
It's almost, as far as F1 goes, it's almost nothing. Yeah. But last place. But remember, they have no contract, which hopefully hopefully they will.
Yeah.
Apparently they will sign this. Last place pays still 25 million pounds. It's like $40 million, something like that. Wow. But Haas has no contract.
That's crazy.
Let's look at the rest of the teams, though.
Well, okay, and here's the thing. I was when I was reading about this, and I remember actually like there was, I don't know if you saw, there was like a Sky Sports F1 special with Will Buxton and Ted and some other dude from F1 Racing Magazine, and they were just kind of like going through like what they saw from, and you know, a lot of the stuff, like I'm sure it's everywhere wherever you can read it. The Toro Rossos are looking great for having been such a late entry. Sauber's not looking that great. Mercedes have clearly been working in many little details like that, like those crazy barge boards and whatever. Like they have like because they were so far ahead in terms of engine already at the end of last year. They had maybe a lot more manpower and resources to focus, not necessarily on the engine as much as like just little details in the car, like just down to like everything is basically the same car as last year, but so many things, like little, they fiddled with so many things to make it like that much better, that much quicker.
Wow.
That's what Mercedes have done, and that's what they showed up. The Ferrari was looking quick but unreliable. You know, this is the stuff that we've been hearing, right? But one thing that they didn't seem to agree on was exactly how they felt that each team was going to play. So if you watch that interview with, or sorry, that special with Will Buxton and Ted and whatever, before Buxton goes off the deep end there towards the end, they started like kind of ranking and in the, at least in the middle of the field, or even like how far ahead Mercedes was from Ferrari, they couldn't really agree. And there's been people from the BBC also putting their own statistics together, and Autosport magazine, whatever, etc. But the best that I could find was from this guy. Now, we brought this blog up before, F1 Metrics. Really cool stuff. They did this economic analysis on like how much F1 spends before. Since it turned out that like the numbers weren't 100% precise, but you know, it's pretty good approximation. Now, this guy, he's like a PhD with like a strong background on mathematics and statistics. So
cool.
So he understands this. He understands numbers, and based on 100 or information about 103 stints that were put out there by at F1 Debrief. He basically compiled the data, and if you like, is this on the screen? Is this on? Yeah. Go down. There's for the listeners, there's gonna be a link to this article for sure. So he basically keep going. Yeah, he takes the raw data, and by doing a number of things, like trying to separate it and like adjust it by fuel load, he starts getting like way down. Like okay, keep scrolling. Yeah, way down to like, you know, more like better, like way cleaner data, way cleaner approximations. Keep going down, and like he separates it by like he tries to guess, and he uses like a few like very very well thought out arguments to like say like, okay, so there's gonna be a number of tires that are gonna be or times that are gonna be under the like a first stint kind of scenario, second stint, third stint, fourth stint. There's gonna be some qualifying laps. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I haven't seen this yet. This graph is basically showing like the slower you go, the faster you go.
Yeah, no, okay. So
basically,
let me get to this in 1 second. Okay, let's go up a bit from there. Okay, so he's basically right here trying to clean up the data, trying to like make turn the data so that it like matches like some sort of a prescribed form, so that we can actually like use this data usefully. So he takes all of the 4 stints and basically tries to like equate them all as if they had been going on like a 4th stint kind of fuel load, and on a medium set of tires. So with that, now by parting with that, then you can make some really interesting calculations like this. What this means is that this graph right here, and it's optimal degradation rate versus number of laps in a stint, is basically telling you that somewhere around, if your stint is like below, like say like from 0 to 3 or 0 to 4 laps, so if you're doing a very short stint, i.e. qualifying, then you can just gun it, because it doesn't matter. Like, so the optimal degradation rate, like at that point,
you get about 2 laps out of that tire.
Yeah.
On as fast as you can go.
Yeah, as fast as you can go. It doesn't matter. Like, it's still gonna like it's gonna degrade like so slowly that
but the same tire, you can run it slower for 25 laps.
Exactly. So if here somewhere in between 15 and 20, which is the normal stints within a race, right? You're looking at losing somewhere around 0.2 seconds per lap, so that you can keep the tire at the optimal amount. That's what they mean, man. Yeah. That's what they mean when they're saying like, yo, you gotta conserve those tires. Like, you gotta make sure that you're driving like basically slower and slower at a constant rate every lap. And that's supposed to be what Checo Perez is really good at doing. Like,
that's insane.
Like going fast first and then like slowing yourself down very like on the tiniest little bits.
Somewhere around that like 14 to 25 lap window is where you want to be, depending what tires you've chosen.
Yeah.
Especially this year to bring to the race. Because this is for the medium tire?
Medium tire, yeah.
Yeah. So
and in Barcelona and whatever, yeah.
So this is for the medium tire at Barcelona. Yeah. So each tire above and below will have a slightly shifted left or right curve on it.
Yeah.
And depending how many laps each race is, the distance, and how aggressive the surface. Oh my god!
Now he got to this too because
this is too deep though. It's interesting. I love it, but F1 needs the revolution of the hard tires, fast cars, and just fucking race it out.
Oh, it's
not calculating if you go between 14 to 22 laps and you degrade your time by 0.2 seconds approximately per lap.
Yeah.
Everything will be awesome. No.
If you can consciously, as a race car driver, drive a little slower every lap, we'll be fine.
I get it. It's a cool contest, but let's go back to the other shit. Wide ass cars, 2 meters, big floors, fat wings, super downforce, hard tires. Psych each other out to pass. You psych someone out for a couple laps, put pressure, and then you pass them. Let's go back to that.
There's a wealth of information in this article
awesome.
alone.
Awesome,
this keeps going. Like, you're not even like through 1/3.
Oh yeah, look at the bar.
That was Mercedes. And this is Ferrari.
Yeah, there's like an individual analysis of Ferrari. Yeah. So, but let me break it down to you. Yeah. So you can leave this like and keep scrolling down, but basically according to his analysis, here's what we got. We basically have a Mercedes that's very clearly on at the front, but closely followed by a Ferrari that actually, when they're out there, and if they can sort out their look at this.
This one right here.
Yeah. So we're talking about Ferrari data versus Mercedes data, and they're not that far off. Like, this is not that far off. And indeed, at the very beginning, if they're just going for like flat out qualifying, they're actually pretty close. Look at that. So this is what's gonna get interesting throughout the year. Mercedes is not, or Ferrari is not that far off from Mercedes this year. All the gaps, like, they seem to have closed the gap when their engine is on. right? Like they're either going to be up there trying to battle the Mercedes, or they're going to be somewhere in the ditch.
Just not to kick you off track.
Yeah.
This morning, I think it was Christian Horner, but someone at Red Bull announced Renault and Red Bull, Tag Heuer, is expecting an engine upgrade at the Canadian Grand Prix, and their quote was, "Expect something along the lines of Ferrari's upgrade last year."
And by then,
I think that was this morning.
And then by then, all the other teams are going to have an even better upgrade, so they're still going to be on the back foot.
Honda's the big up in the air now. Renault, again, they shied away from making any predictions. Yeah. This morning, they're like, don't worry, at Canada, we're going to come back.
Okay, but check this out. Okay, so but because Red Bull, you'd be thinking that maybe they're a bit worried, right? Because they didn't like it could be that Toro Rosso was actually like a bit quicker than them, but so check this out. This is where it gets messy, because you have Mercedes and Ferrari up here. So Ferrari is 0.2 to 0.5 seconds a lap off the Mercedes pace, which is not a lot. 0.2 to 0.5, you can DRS that. You can DRS that difference.
You can DRS it, and you can easily slip one corner.
Yeah.
And just like lift your foot for like you fuck up one corner. That's that lap gone.
But then
Williams behind, right
from the third to the 7th team in terms of the classification, according to F1 metrics analysis, there's only 1.1 to 1.8. That's where they stack up against Mercedes. So there's Ferrari up here at 0.2 in the back. Then this is basically what the races are going to look through at the end. Like Ferrari and Mercedes like up here, and then a big gap, and then in the next 0.7 seconds, there's going to be a mess of Williams, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Force India, and Renault, or at least at the beginning of the year. This is what's going to look like. They're from 1.1 to 1.8, all of those teams of the Mercedes pace.
Interesting. We talked about Force India last week, their troubles with the Sahara guys in jail. Vijay Mallya is moving to England because he got paid out. He got paid to leave his chairmanship of this liquor company that he worked for because of some kind of corruption. They got 2 wicked drivers.
Yeah,
their team is doing well. And Forbes, I think on Friday, maybe last week, they published an article about all the earnings of all the teams. Force India made of all the teams the biggest profit and the biggest jump in profit. Good for budget revenue last year of any team.
It could be that Force India is Vijay Mallya,
whether by corruption or not.
Only profitable venture.
It's interesting because he's one of the 2. Sauber is complaining about money this morning, but one of the 2 teams that went to the European Commission complaining about the cartel of Formula One and the corruption there.
For sure.
Meanwhile, he's fleeing in. Anyways.
But we know it's corrupt.
He's fleeing jail in India. Who's in the last few spots?
One more thing before we move on from the midfield. That is going to be a crazy battle. Interesting to note, Red Bull and Toro Rosso are indeed very close. Red Bull still edging a little bit, but Toro Rosso. Okay, so the range of the difference in between Mercedes and Red Bull is 1.0 to 1.6 versus Toro Rosso's 1.2 to 1.4. So at the longer end of that, the Red Bulls seem to be maybe on the longer stints or the longer tracks for that matter. The Toro Rosso might have the edge on Red Bull, but the Red Bull does on the majority of it. Now, so there's that upper to lower midfield bracket from Williams. So this again. So we have the Mercedes and Ferrari at the top. Then a really bunched up pack of Williams, Red Bull, Toro Rosso, Force India, and Renault. After that, then there's another big gap, and basically McLaren and Sauber. They are at 2.2 to 2.7. I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But But now there wasn't much significant running from either Manor or Haas to make an accurate prediction from his point of view. But he says that if all the other analyses that he's been reading basically point at Manor and Haas actually being very even and being within a second of the McLaren and Sauber. So that means that at the back as well, there could be some interesting fights with Haas and Manor, like trying to basically catch up to this, maybe Sauber trailing the McLaren or something like that. There's not gonna be like it was last year, like a clear. There's the Manors way at the back. Mm-hmm. No, like even the backpack, there's not gonna be back markers as such. Right. All of these teams, at the end of the day, they're gonna be like, it's not gonna be like at the end of last year we had a Manor that had been lapped like 4 times or whatever by the end of the race, right? Yeah. That's not gonna happen this year.
Yeah, they got the Mercedes. It's kind of like this year, like Manor is to Mercedes what Haas is to Ferrari.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's a secondary race between Mercedes and Ferrari, between Manor and Haas.
Like a proxy war?
Basically, yeah.
They're having a proxy war at the end of the grid?
They are.
That's kind of brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great. I heard this fact about, I told you just before the show, about testing. Over 25,000 miles completed by all teams combined at the 8 days of testing. In kilometers, I just converted it, 40,233. So somewhere around there. It wasn't exactly 25,000.
Yeah.
40,000 kilometers of testing is
my God.
That's fucking crazy.
Some people were even saying that like not even 15 years ago, preseason testing, like you'd go and like you'd hope to put in like 20 laps altogether because stuff was just so unreliable. Like you went to like start up these engines or the car would break or something. So like really, I mean, the fact like these have been pretty much like the most mileage intensive testing that has happened in F1 because it has to be as well. There's not that much in season testing there, whereas there used to be before, and the season is starting like the earliest it has been in a very long time.
Yeah. What's the date again?
March the 20th.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a couple weeks, brah.
You want to pull up the tires for Melbourne? I just highlighted it there. Because this is kind of related to testing because, teams had to choose their tires for testing under the new rules before testing. Choose the tires for Melbourne before testing was started or completed and before the new qualifying was announced.
Yeah.
But if you look down at the bottom, Herianto, Wehrlein, the only two guys with 4 medium tires. It's kind of interesting. And you look at the top, Hamilton and Rosberg. Hamilton's got 1 medium, Rosberg's got 2, and Hamilton's got an extra soft pair of tires over Rosberg.
Oh my God.
Gesundheit.
Jesus.
The 2 Ferraris identical. 2 Williamses identical. Below that, the 2 Red Bulls is identical. What's going on?
I don't know.
What happened?
What happened?
I was zooming in and
Shut the bed.
I think you gotta
errors.
You gotta zoom it back out.
I'm not even zoomed in.
Uh-oh.
Hold on.
You broke it. You broke the internet. Below that, 2 Red Bulls identical. Magnussen and Palmer identical. Hülkenberg and Perez for India identical. Verstappen and Sainz identical. Alonso and Button identical. Ericsson and Nasser not the same.
Really?
And also Grosjean and Gutierrez at the bottom not the same. But there's only quite a few drivers took. About half the grid took 7 super softs and the other half 6. There's actually, if you can pull that back up.
Sorry, I restarted my Firefox.
Oh my god. There's actually like a huge variation.
Where?
In tire choices. The whole grid.
Oh, yeah, man.
Between soft and super soft, about half and half. And with the mediums as well, about half and half between 1 and 2 pairs.
This is what we were hoping for.
And the manners with four each on the mediums. Yeah. But not a lot of teams splitting strategies between drivers other than
Mercedes is one, right?
at the very top. Yeah, at the very top. You got to go way down to the bottom here to find another one.
I wonder what happened with that. Like, you know how like that Mercedes, their whole thing was like, oh, we have one strategist, only one strategist. Clearly, that's not the case anymore, because they're gonna have their.
They must have their own, yeah.
But that was the thing last year, right? Like that was what created the whole
controversy
in the Singapore, right?
They had Mercedes had a strategist whose job was to get both drivers the best position, no matter who was the winner. Get both drivers to the end in the best position possible. But yeah, obviously they split tire decision, they split the race decision, and probably something to do with Hamilton preferring the front brakes more.
Oh yeah,
he goes with the softer tire, a bit longer. Rosberg's a bit gentler on the brakes, I guess. He might be able to last longer on the medium tire. Push his pit further. And
the two Ferraris on the same strategy. That's what surprised me.
Yeah,
because they do not have the same driving style.
Maybe they're both a lot more. Well, again, they wouldn't have got to. They had to choose these tires before testing the new car, right? So they wouldn't have been able to. Possibly their strategies or their driving styles are more equalized with the new car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see what comes up, and we definitely can't wait for things to keep spicing up in Australia. One another thing that did come out though was the ridiculous Halo thing. Jeez. Yeah, look this up. Look this up. F1 Halo 2016.
We talked about this a little bit last week. It kind of just happened that day or something, right? Last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth looking at again. There you go. That second pic. That's a real photograph. Those Mercedes ones are they're just mock-ups.
That thing does look ridiculous.
Yeah, this happened while you were in Florida. They ran this for real on the track. Flick through a couple of the pictures here we can look at. You were away, but for each of the two Ferrari drivers, they took I think about 2 laps each, tested it out, gave some comments on how much they could see, visibility.
Okay, you can basically see how this is a carbon fiber thing. So it's only supposed to be there.
Oh my god!
Yeah, more sponsorship. That's exactly what they
really
did.
Yeah, I think that's why they're pushing for it.
Yeah, but yeah. So you can see how it's carbon fiber. So this one right now, obviously, it's not it's not even how it would look like in the end because they're not going to be carbon fiber. They're going to be steel.
Yeah, it's going to be something like 15 kilos. Like they want to change the regulation next year to add, I think it was 20 kilos to the minimum weight of the car.
Wow.
For the purpose of accommodating, I assume it would be aerodynamically formed with carbon around it, but a steel tube, basically a heavy steel tube.
Holy
like
shit.
A 40-pound steel tube that would be
like scaffolding grade, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, like not a hollow tube, like a
what
solid
happened to that
tube.
Mercedes one, because that thing looks. I like the design of that.
That's basically what everybody said. Like everybody was like, "Oh, I'm so disappointed. Like this does not look like anything that we were sold by Mercedes." Like
this was a mock-up. See if you can scroll down, and some people have photoshopped
what the visibility will
the
look
driver view might be. See if you can find it while we're talking. But some drivers are super against this. Like Hülkenberg has come out against it, big time. Ricciardo has come out against Hülkenberg, telling him, "Don't be a hero."
Lewis already said, if that thing's in my car, I'm gonna take it off.
He said I hope the regulation is optional, because if it is, I'm not having it.
Yeah.
Jolyon Palmer.
That looks cool.
Yeah, but it wasn't gonna be like that, obviously.
Jolyon Palmer, who is a Formula 1 driver now, but also has a second job as a race commentator.
Yeah.
He does GP2 commentary. I don't know if he will this year now, but he said he doesn't want it. He's against it. He feels, as far as racing goes, it should probably be introduced into Indy first, if anything, because Indy racing is mostly city circuits with no runoff, and all the debris kind of gets thrown, kind of like funnels back into the track because there's no runoffs there. It's just, they're fenced off, high speed, whereas F1 has massive runoffs on every corner, so it's not as needed.
That's not a bad point.
Vettel super for it. Raikkonen seemed like he kind of was for it because he didn't talk too much shit.
Well, he was just...
It kind of seems like the guys that have their own babies at home want it.
Yeah, it could be just that.
I don't know what Ricciardo's deal. Maybe he's got some baby kangaroos at home.
Yeah,
he's taken care of.
And this obviously like has divided the paddock like up and down. Like Martin Brundle is against it.
He said he wasn't explicitly against the idea if it saved a life, but he doesn't like it.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to sound like an asshole. But
there it is. So yeah, that's what it looks like from inside.
Oh my
god! It's a pretty good idea. Oh, the second right there to the right, boom! There is you. So there's a Photoshop of what it might seem like in the seat, which is not too bad, right? It doesn't really.
It's not really blocking anything important, right?
Yeah.
For me,
this
like,
is kind of crazy. This is a lot of negative space.
What can I really say though? Like, if somebody doesn't die because they have that, awesome. That's awesome.
This is.
But
would this have protected other drivers before?
But that's the thing. The most recent like big F1 accident that happened was Jules Bianchi's death in 2 years ago in Japan.
He might not have been saved.
Yeah, he might not have been. Yeah, the most.
But, I mean, if that was a solid steel bar, maybe he would have. But the other guy, Justin Wilson from Indy, he probably would have. He got hit with a carbon wing, like a wing hit him. He was just going really fast, and it would have saved his life.
Maria de Villota, would she? Maybe she
probably would have.
Maybe she could have survived.
For me, I hadn't thought of it before, but I'm with basically Lewis Hamilton's point of view. Not because it's his point of view, but because I hadn't thought of it, that it should be optional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And even if you change the regulation to put the minimum weight to include that, and a driver who opts not to equip it on their car just has to wear a ballast, why not?
Yeah.
But you could get an advantage for putting your ballast under your ass instead of on top of your head.
Yeah.
I don't know however they figure that out, but I would respect a driver who would opt not to take the safety precaution.
Yeah, and me too. And you know what? And that's I'm all for the safety as well. But
yeah, what do you say?
But Hulkenberg even said like, man, it's already too safe. It's already like we're walking away from all of these injuries. There's got to be like there just simply has to be an element of danger that everybody takes on board. That's why it's difficult. That's why it's hard. That's why they're the best drivers in the world. Like that's one of the biggest reasons. My point of view on this is that like it's something like this is coming. It's gonna happen either way because everybody's all crazy about the safety and whatever. So I mean, and you know, as we hadn't had a death in Formula 1 for years, you know, since Senna, then Jules Bianchi. All of the deaths are happening because of, in motorsport now, are happening because of head injuries.
Head injury.
Right.
So there's going to have to be some sort of thing for the head, like, to address that. Is this the best solution, though? I don't think so. I think you still have to keep like an element of putting these cars on a bedroom poster, you know, like these cars have to be beautiful.
I'm pretty curious to see who pushed for this. Like who was
FIA.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the back of what you just said though, and on the back of what I just said about Ricciardo, I have this note from a couple weeks ago that I just never brought up. Ricciardo was quoted in like some sort of interview with him, an article about him. I found this interesting because he's being one of the guys pushing for the halo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he said the way F1 is now, he's really looking forward and hopes that 2017 is what's being promised because right now he said F1 in 2015 is too easy. as far as 2015 was.
Yeah.
Because there's too much grip, not enough tire grip with the purposeful degradation.
Mm-hmm.
The head protection he's still for, but he said the step up is too easy. He said this isn't what I dreamt of when I was a kid. It's not what I was like striving for. It's not what I saw when I was a kid. The difference, GP2, if you look at GP2, they're reaching the same or even more speeds on some tracks, more downforce, and the step up to F1 is more about, or a lot about, money, and if your brain can handle like 17 car modes and changing those. We'll talk about the new radio regulations in a minute in the next segment here, but just interesting that Ricciardo's pushing for these head protection, but at the same time he said F1's not as big of a step up as it needs to be, and it's kind of there's not like the heroic thing. Yeah. So at the same time he's criticizing Hülkenberg, he's on the same side really. I really hope 2017 is what's promised. 2 meter wide cars, 1.6 meter wide floors, fat low wings,
and they still
huge
didn't agree
diffusers.
on 1,000 brake horsepower, which really they should have. That would have been the.
That doesn't even have to be a regulation, but you can stick with the flow limit, the fuel flow limit.
Yeah.
But up the load, the fuel load.
That's true.
This is what's being discussed. What's being discussed from Ecclestone. I know you want to talk about Ecclestone in another segment, but the 100 kilo limit and the 100 kilo per hour limit is holding back, keeping on what Lewis was talking about there. Mode 3 going full out for the full race.
Yeah,
pushing hard, and the tires aren't built on purpose.
A bit of that is also the reliability, like because the engines have to last. Yeah, for the whole year. Like,
as we talked about last week. If you didn't hear last week, I know a lot of people didn't because we did a shitty video in my living room with a cell phone. But there's still talk that the 21st race, whichever one it could be, maybe Silverstone, maybe Germany, maybe something else, might not happen this year. The regulations have been upped this year from 4 engines to 5 to include that 21st race, but there's the distinct possibility that 21st race might not happen. There might only be 20, and then there might be an extra engine floating around for everybody.
Oh yeah,
this year.
Oh yeah,
except maybe Honda.
Oh,
but that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, actually, one thing before we stop talking about testing altogether, I really want to bring attention to this really cool thing that I hadn't seen before. Anybody do this before? Mike, this is the link that I have highlighted right now. This is something. Cheers to F1 Fanatic for putting this together. This is one of them. You can spend, if you're an F1 fan, you can spend like hours on this. So if you are a listener, just go to f1fanatic.co.uk and you'll find this. And it's basically a tool that they put together with pictures from testing where you can do this side by side.
Wow.
No, but it doesn't stop there. Go. Okay, scroll down a bit. No. Okay, a little bit up. So you can choose which car. I shit you know. Like, okay, so go put the Renault beside. Yeah, and
how did I miss this?
And then do change images here.
You gotta click that green button.
Yeah, like, and now.
Wow, that's cool.
No, but keep going down, man. This gets crazier from the back.
From the back.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You can see.
Whoa.
I know, right?
Wow, that's fucking cool.
I'd never seen this before. So you can see immediately the difference between, like, they chose to use the one pipe for the wastegate versus the two the Renault that the Haas and most people did.
Yeah, they used the one fatter one on top.
Yeah.
And use that as a support. Oh, they got a support.
No monkey seat. Yeah.
Jinx. Person Jinx.
What's a monkey seat?
This okay. Go back to the right. This thing here.
Okay.
This extra little winglet.
They call that the monkey seat. Ted calls it Ted. I think Ted invented that term. It's called
But look,
God.
from the side.
Side views. Sort of related to this. Did either of you guys see the Honda McLaren was using the bicolored FOF050a paint?
Oh yeah, yeah, that thing is cool too. Because
That was pretty sick.
yeah.
Did you have the link for that? You got a picture of that?
It was within those pictures that we showed at the very beginning.
Okay, let's pull that up and I'll explain it for a quick second. Yeah. So this
It's gonna take a while to find.
f1fanatic.co.uk compare every F1 car of 2016 from every angle. Look that up. But yeah, this FOF050a thing was pretty
Okay.
cool.
Let me see if I can find a picture.
If you got that link quickly, I'll explain it. McLaren, you've heard of this FOF050a paint. You've seen it before, where they paint the neon. They put like a goop of neon paint and then drive fast and see how it kind of how it swoops like sticks to the car.
Yeah.
They put a goop of green on one half of the front and a goop of red on the other half of the front, and then drove and checked how the green and red crossed over. So they had sort of a rainbow effect. They had some of the air, so they saw some of the air from the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And some of the air from the left-hand side crossed over. So they had a bit of green on one and a bit of red on the other.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of an F1 first, the new idea. They used a bicolored FOF050a paint to see how the air flowed across the car.
Did you find it?
Diagonally.
Yeah, here, hang on. It's in that.
If you
It's
check
in
on
this one?
Sky's episode 8 of the Paddock Uncut,
Go forward to the right.
you'll see a mini segment about that. Or it might have been from Ted's.
There.
Oh,
There we go.
that's what I
Here's a
saw.
photograph. Yeah, so kind of a rainbow. You see some of the green paint has crossed to the red side, and some of
Now-
the red paint's crossed to the green side.
Look at this. Okay, so they dumped this
And-
all like mostly on the front wing, eh?
Right.
And then they
And
also
they-
put
they
both
put- yeah.
colors on the bottom.
So they put red at the bottom, and you can see how some of the red from here actually made it all the way to the top.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was supposed to have done.
Yeah. This is that is one of the This
But
is
you
one
don't
of the
see it on
coolest.
the
No,
opposite.
they only put green on the one side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can pretty much assume that whatever the airflow is here, going to be the same on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can see some of that green on
Did
the
ma-
bottom right.
make
It
it
did
all the way
cross
out
it
there.
over.
Yeah.
You'd probably need to see a right-hand side.
And over
for
here,
that.
there's red and green. This is a really cool
is
picture.
this assuming that this red is going underneath the wing?
Well, no, when they
Because
painted it
wouldn't
originally,
they just
when they painted the red originally, they painted the
underside?
the underside of the wing. They painted it red.
Wow.
So red from here couldn't have come from anywhere else other than the under part of the wing.
Right.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's so cool, right?
Fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah, this freaking sport. Anyway,
Let's talk about some qualifying
yeah, in just a second.
business.